Hi everyone, welcome to the Java session on variable length argument methods and main method. In this session, we are mainly going to discuss some important points related to variable length argument methods and main method. First, let me start the variable length argument methods concept. What is the need of variable length argument methods? Means if we want to implement some functionality and due to change in argument list, if we are facing a problem to write multiple methods, to avoid such type of problems we go for variable length argument methods. Observe this point. If functionality is the same, but as we are increasing or changing the number of arguments, then we need to add new methods. By doing this, it reduces our code readability, means our code will become more lengthy and complex to read. Observe here sum of two numbers. Okay, for that I written a function which accepts the two parameters and do some logic. Sum of three numbers. This time I added one more argument. In that case, I should write one more method to accept three parameters, right? Here, whenever I'm changing the argument list, for every change, I need to add one more new method. If I did like this, the code will become complex and I need to add more and more methods. To avoid that problem, Java added a new feature in the 1.5 version, which is nothing but variable length arguments, which is nothing but you can pass any number of arguments. There will be no problem, and those passed arguments will be stored as one dimensional array in the method. Okay, let me go to the next slide. Observe this example. I had taken a class test, and inside the main method, what I am doing is I am invoking two methods, which is sum of 10, 20, which is nothing but I am passing this time two arguments, and second time I am passing three arguments, but I am maintaining only one method, void sum. But observe, this is called as variable length argument parameter, which is nothing but you can pass any number of parameters. Those parameters will be stored as one dimensional array here. If you pass two parameters, those two parameters will be stored as one dimensional array in the ARR variable. If you pass three, not only three, you can pass any number of arguments, three arguments, four arguments, five arguments. Those will be stored as one dimensional array in the sum method. Okay, our logic is to find sum of the numbers that you pass. Let me initialize total equals to 0, and for every integer element present in the array ARR, what I am doing means I am summing those values, total plus equals to element, and I am finally printing the total value, system.out.println total. Okay, here you need to observe only one point. You can pass any number of arguments. Those arguments will be stored as one dimensional array in the method. These are variable length arguments. Now, some points you need to remember while specifying variable length argument parameters. The first point is, observe, you can use normal parameters with variable length argument parameters. Where are parameters? Observe, I am passing 5 parameters. I am using some normal parameters and one vararg parameter. Means the 10 value will be stored into x variable, the 20 value will be stored into the y variable, whereas from 30 onwards, remaining all these things will be stored into this z array. It will become as an array. 3 dots represents vararg parameter. Okay, now z is a one dimensional array which is holding three variables, three numbers, 30, 40 and 50. Okay, you can use normal arguments and vararg parameters within a method. There will be no problem, but one point you should remember is variable length argument should be specified at last. You should specify at last only. Observe, I am specifying variable length arguments and one normal parameter. but I'm not specifying in the last, then in that case I will get error. Whenever there is a vararg parameter, you should declare, you should specify it at last only. Now one more point you should remember, in a method you should take only one vararg parameter. Taking two vararg parameters is illegal, you will get error, because whatever the list of elements you specified in the function call, that all the elements will be stored into a single array, right? But no need to take two arrays. So if you take more than one vararg parameter, it will result in error. It is illegal. Okay. These are all the points regarding the vararg parameters. Observe this example. When there is a chance to execute both normal method and the variable length argument method, then always general method will comes into the picture. Observe, when there is a chance to execute both normal and vararg parameter methods, at that time only the normal method will be executed. Observe, I am taking void my method, which is a general method because there is no variable length arguments, right? And this is another my method, same method, but this time you observe this is a vararg parameters. Now I am invoking my method empty. Empty means no arguments I am passing. Then this will not invoke because it was expecting one argument, but this will accept because vararg parameter method will take 0 to any number of arguments. So for the first time you will get the result as vararg. For the first time you will get vararg. Second time I am invoking with the two parameters. Similarly, this is expecting only one parameter, but you are passing two parameters. This will not be invoked. This will be invoked because it takes two values and made it as a one-dimensional array. So the second time also you will get vararg. But the third time you are invoking with the one number, means it is expecting one number. It is also able to take one number, right? But in that case, always the general method will be executed, not the vararg method. So when there is a chance to execute both the methods, normal or vararg methods, the preference will be given to the normal method only. Observe, whenever I am passing only one argument, this there is a chance to execute this also and this also, but the preference will be given to the normal method only. I hope this concept is also clear for everyone. Let me go to the next concept, the main method concept. Main method, right? Without main method, we are unable to execute, we are unable to run our program. Now take this example. This is the class test, this is empty class. I had not specified any main method or any methods. Now whenever I will compile this, there will be no problem. I won't get any compile time error. Compiles fine, and I will get a file which is called as a test, right? Which is called as the test.class file, which is nothing but bytecode. Test.class file I will get whenever I will compile. But whenever I'm trying to run this Java test, whenever I'm going to type this command Java test, I will get runtime error because JVM always checks for the main method first. So there is no main method, right? There is no main method in my code, in my class test. So it raises an error, no main method found. Like that, you will get a runtime error. Okay. Java JVM creates a main thread which always search for main method first. The main method will be in this format, public static void main. We will discuss why should we write that syntax only. What is the importance of that syntax? We will discuss in the next slide. Okay. Observe the main method syntax. It is a strict syntax you need to follow. If you done any modification to that syntax, our program will not run. JVM will not run the main method. Okay. Now observe, this was the syntax. Public static void main string array args. Here, observe carefully. Why we need to write main only? Can't I write, instead of main, can't I write my own name like public static void? some coding, public static void Ram, Hari, like that. Can't I use my own name like that? You may get some doubts, right? Observe carefully. You can write it. There will be no problem. But the JVM is a software, right? JVM, which is developed by the Sun Microsystem, it was configured in such a way that it always looks for main method only. If you write your own name, it won't check for that. You can design your own JVM and you can rename it and you can use it. There will be no problem. But by using the default JVM provided by Sun Microsystem, then you should write main only. JVM is instructed to search for main method first. Okay. We can replace main method with our own name with user defined names, but you need to configure the JVM, means you need to develop your own JVM. Now, why the main method should always be public means, to be called by the JVM from anywhere, our main method should be public, because our program may be saved at any location. JVM should recognize that and JVM should call that method, so that it should be public only. And the next one is why it should be static. Static means at the time of running the main method is also a method present in our class, right? In order to call any method, what should we do? We need to call it by the object reference. We need to create an object for that and we need to call it with that reference. But at the time of executing main method, our program or in our hand, we are having no objects. We are having no objects for our class. So to call a method without using object, so we should declare that method as a static. We all know that static methods can be called directly by using their class name. So in order to call the method without using any object reference, you need to declare it with static keyword. And the next one is, why should the return type should be void only? Because who is calling the main method? JVM, right? JVM is calling the main method. If JVM is calling the main method, is there any requirement to return something to the JVM? Right? There is no requirement to return anything to the JVM. So that the return type of main method should be void only, because the main method will execute and won't return anything to the JVM. So declare it return type as void only. String array, right? In main method, this represents the command line argument. Whenever you are running from the command prompt, if you pass any arguments, those will be stored into this string one-dimensional array. Okay, this args represents the string array name. You can represent without, you can replace args with any name as per your wish. Just args is a reference. It's a name given to the one-dimensional string array. Okay, it represents command line arguments. I hope everyone is clear about the main method syntax. Why it should be public, why it should be static, void, main, and command line arguments. Okay, let me go to the next slide. Observe, even though it is a strict syntax, you can make some possible changes in that. Some accepted changes you can make. First one is order of modifiers is not important in Java. Means instead of a public static void main, you can write static public, which means you reverse it here, right? You made like this. There will be no problem by changing the order of the modifiers. And similarly, public static void main string array args. This is also valid syntax because we can use any accepted syntax which represents the string array. It represents the string array, it is valid. It is also representing string array, it is valid. And as I defined earlier, if you put 3 dots, it represents a one-dimensional array, right? This is also a valid syntax. These are all valid syntaxes. Here observe carefully. This ARR means it is just a reference variable. It's just a name given to the one-dimensional string array. You can use any name instead of args. Okay. Let me go to the next slide. Observe, the main method can be overloaded. Overloading means same name you can use, but by changing the arguments list, you can define any number of methods in the class. This concept is called as overloading. Observe here, I am having two methods, main and main. In the first method, I am taking string array as parameter, and in the second one, I am taking the integer array. Okay, I am taking the integer array this time. Now, this is concept is called as method overloading. You can overload the main method also. Observe, whenever you run the program, JVM will always call the string array parameter main method only. So whenever you run Java test, you will get the output as string array args only. Okay, let me go to next slide. Java, in Java, main method can be inherited. Means, you know the inheritance concept. From the parent, if child is extending the parent, then all the properties and methods, all the properties and methods except the private properties will get inherited. Means the child can use the properties of parent. Properties and methods present in parent can be used by child class reference. Okay. Now observe carefully. I declared a main method in the parent class, parent main. There is no main method in the child class. Now I'm compiling, I'm saving with the parent.java and I'm compiling java c parent.java. Whenever you compile, you will get a separate dot class file for every class present in the program. This is one class and this is another class. You will get parent.class in the current working directory and child.class file in the current working directory. Whenever I run java parent, okay, JVM will check for main method in the parent class. Yes, it found. So it prints parent main. Similarly, whenever I run java child, in child class there is no main method. Then the control will goes to the parent. In the parent class, is there any main method? Yes, main method is present. So you will get parent main. That means child class is inheriting the main method from the parent. This is the one point you need to remember. And let me go to the next slide. Method hiding, which is similar to the method overriding. Observe carefully. Method overriding means take the parent and child is extending the parent. Now observe carefully. If the child is not satisfied with the implementation present in the parent class, then child can define its own implementation with the same method name. Okay, observe. Here main method and string array args with the same method signature. Same method signature, the child class also define its own implementation. Okay, this concept is called as overriding. In overloading, the method name should be same and arguments should be different. In method overriding, both the method name and argument list should be same. Now observe carefully. I will save this program with the parent.java, and whenever I compile, two separate dot class files will be generated. Parent.class, child.class files. And whenever I run Java parent, okay, Java parent class having main method, print parent main. Whenever I am running Java child, control goes to the child class and checks whether main method is available. Yes, main method is available. So print child main. This concept is called overriding, but whenever you are coming to the static methods, you should not call this process as overriding. Static methods will not be overridden. This concept is called as method hiding. We will discuss what is overriding when we discuss the concepts related to OOPS, okay, object oriented principles. Now just remember, static methods can be overridden, which is nothing but static methods can be hidden. This method hiding is possible for main method also. Okay, this is all about the var methods and the main method. Let me give you programmatically how to implement all these concepts. Observe carefully. I am opening the programs. First, observe the variable length argument methods example 1. Now see this example. Here, I called 0 parameters with the 2 parameters, 3 parameters and 4 parameters, but I kept only one method. This is nothing but a variable length argument method, which takes any number of parameters and converts it into one dimensional array. Observe this. Let me open the command prompt here. Now, Java C wherearg methods example 1 I am running, compiling. Let me run this. Observe, with 0 parameters, with 2 parameters, with 3 parameters, with 4 parameters. Any number of parameters you pass, the function will accept that and perform the logic. Now, next go to the second problem, variable length argument, second example. Observe this example. Now, whenever there is a computation between variable length arguments and general method, always general method will be executed. I am passing 0 arguments, so it will call variable length arguments. I am passing 2 arguments, it will call variable length arguments. Whenever I am calling with one argument, here there is a chance to execute this variable length argument method and this general method, but always general method will be executed when there is a computation. Observe this example. Let me compile here. Java C various methods example 2. Java, let me run this. See, for the first 2 times you got wherearg method, but for the third time you got normal method, because whenever there is a computation between variable length arguments and normal method, always normal method will be executed. Okay, let me clear the screen and let me go to the next example, main method example. Let me observe the main method examples. Main methods can be overloaded, right? Main, same, but this time it is having string array. Main with integer array as arguments. Main method, double array as the argument. This concept is overloading. Now observe, whenever I run this example, JVM will only call string array argument related main method only. And if you want to call these methods, you need to call explicitly. There will be no problem if you overload the main method. Observe this example. Java C main method example at Java main method example. Observe, string array related main method will be called by JVM implicitly. Now, let me open one more program. Observe this here. Main method can be inherited. This is the main method present in the parent class, right? Now this is a children which is extending the above parent. Now observe, there is no main method present in the children. But whenever I try to execute main method, then in that case, the JVM will look for main method present in parent. Yes, main method is available in the parent. So execute it. There will be no problem. Observe here. Let me compile and run this program. Java C main method example 2.java. Java main method example 2. Right, you got parent class main. But similarly, whenever I'm going to run children, right, whenever you compile, you get 2.class file, parent and child, right? Children I'm executing. This time also I'm getting parent class main, because in child class there is no main method. So JVM will look for the main method. Is there any main method present in parent or not? If present, execute that. Okay. Now observe the third example. Here main method hiding you can observe. First, a parent is having main method with the same syntax. The child is also having the main method. Right here the class is a child which is extending from the above class and having the same main method. Now whenever I execute main method, whenever I run parent class, I will get parent class main. Whenever I run child class main method will be executed. Okay, let me compile and run this. Java C main method example 3.java. And whenever you compile, you got two files. First one is Java main method example 3, which is nothing but parent class main. There's a child also, right? Java child. You will get child class main because method hiding will be done there. I hope the concepts are clear for everyone, right? Today we discussed variable length argument methods, some points related to that, and main method, what is the syntax of the main method, what are the modifiers present in the main method and what is their importance, and some acceptable changes in the main method. And main method can be overloaded, inherited, and method hiding is also possible with the main method. These are all the concepts we discussed in today's session. In the upcoming sessions, we will come up with some more Java topics. Coding for Freshers is our channel. There you can find some recorded sessions related to Java, problem solving, and some aptitude. So go through the recorded sessions, and in the Telegram channel, you can find some online quiz links. You can practice them also. I'm going to end this session. Thank you for your participation.